Hey guys, welcome back to JB Breaks Free. I hope you're all having a blessed day. Never remember to ask for likes and subscribes and notifications at the beginning of these videos. So I just remembered right now. So if you do enjoy this type of content that I'm creating, you want to go on this break-free journey together, let's do this. Today I wanted to check in and basically talk about drinking. And how I don't like drinking anymore. And I used to love it. If you're in that spot, trust me, I lived for it. I lived for the weekend. I lived for Fridays and cheap bottles of vodka and pre-gaming for hours and staying up all night, making bad decisions, one after another, and the dreaded come down at the end and actually counting how many hours I could sleep or lay in bed until work the next day. And mind you, I work nights. It was not a good lifestyle that I was leading, as a kid and a lot of my 20s, unfortunately, and even trickling into my 30s a bit. Boy, I look back now and I think if I only was doing what I'm doing now in my 20s, I couldn't even imagine. And that would be as a person who was waiting tables, just living a very normal life. The money that I could have saved, invested, the time I could have used. Oh my God, I'd be so far ahead of the game. So if you're watching this video and you are young and you're in your 20s, look at some of the other stuff that I'm doing now and that I will be doing in the future. Drinking basically takes me away from my life's purpose. And that is to enjoy life soberly, to work towards a purpose, which is becoming my best self, becoming debt-free, becoming stress-free, maybe one day becoming job-free, learning other side hustles, and putting myself in that financial position, being happy, not being hungover, being healthy, not being sick, not wasting money. Those are all things that I'm doing now. And, if I'm out, I'll be wasting my time, wasting my money, susceptible to bad decisions, bad choices, and then feeling like absolute crap for the next day or so. That doesn't interest me anymore. And sometimes I actually forget that. And that was a case that actually happened this past Saturday. I drank for the first time in about 2 years. Now, it wasn't my first sip of alcohol in 2 years. I had a couple beers about 2 years ago, actually, last November, 2 Novembers ago, at a Bob Dylan concert. And the pregame was fun. I'm not going to lie. It was like a fun hour and a half, and I was hitting it pretty hard. And then I got to the concert and I was like, damn, I'm drunk. I don't want to be drunk anymore. I don't want to have to keep peeing. I don't want to feel like crap the next day. I don't want to feel drunk right now. I like normal. And it's taken some work to get there, to enjoy normal. Not everyone can deal with their daily lives. And that's something to think of. Like, what are you trying to hide? I read this quote, courage is clarity. And it is courageous to go through life in a relatively sober state. You're hiding pain or guilt or laziness or anxiety and worse with your drinking. And it took me a while to come out of that, to enjoy the days as they are, and to look forward to the next day, getting up early and enjoying, trying to do better and trying to spend as much quality time with my family as possible. I never wanted to be hungover and waste any time that I have with my kids right now and my family. I've already wasted so much time in my youth. And, if you're in your 30s, or I'm 41 right now, there's still so much time to come out of this and to break free from that struggle with alcohol. And it's become a lot easier for me. But when I do drink, I have a tendency to take it to the house. No holds barred. It used to be where I was first cutting back to a few times, 3, 4, 5 times a year I'd drink and I'd get my money's worth. Why sip on a couple beers? If I'm going to go out 4 times a year, I'm going to go out and get effed up. But, that became old pretty quick. Just awful headaches, dry heaves, not good sleep, feeling like crap on your days off or before work. Not interested in that. But one of my dreams is to have Saturdays off. And I feel like I was never really hanging out with my friends. I never had Saturdays off. And we had a work week that we had off at my restaurant. And it was the Saturday before our vacation. And I had already planned to go over to my buddy's house and sober and watch some football. And I don't gamble anymore. But yeah, I was going to do like 2 or 3 $10 parlays. I'm in a different position now than when I made that choice, where I was a little bit maybe addicted to gambling, or I couldn't enjoy the games without some money on it, and I would get in the hole, and and I was still just trying to get my life together at that point. So I figured I could do a couple parlays, and that I ditched that idea and somehow texted some friends that I wanted to go watch football at a bar because that's what they were doing, and I never get to do that. And as soon as I made that choice, I did feel some regret. My heart was never in it. I texted one buddy, and he said, I'm going to pick you up at about 11:50 a.m. and head to the bar at noon, and we were going to watch sports all day. And so the thing in the future was the 7:30 Notre Dame game. I had to make it till that game, right? And mind you, I have not drank in about 2 years. So I was a bit nerved up. How am I going to last? How am I going to act? The morning before, I was like, oh man, I made the wrong choice. But I ate 2 bananas, some ribs, drank Pedialyte. I went and got 3 Pedialytes that I wasted $15 on. Got to the bar, and I tried to maintain a beer an hour strategy. And in between that, sucking down big cups of water. And I did that for a long time. And, I pretty much, my heart was out of it by about 4:35. But I was still in between. I wasn't that bad yet. I didn't want to leave early on my friends who had cleared their schedules to meet me out. And so I hung around. I got some nasty bar food. It was like boneless chicken wings and a garlic parm sauce, and it sounds good, but it really wasn't. And there's another 15 down the drain. And I knew I didn't want to be that hungover the next day. I was worried about having a nap on my day off. Usually Sundays with the family, I like to be active with them and productive around the house and with my side hustles like listing stuff. And it got to the point where I was just like, my heart's just not in it. I'm not drinking to get messed up right now. And I hung in there. That was probably the most responsible I could have been for drinking at a bar from basically noon till 8 p.m. So I had about six, 7 beers, and I was forced to have 2 shots, and I hung in there. I basically got home, and yes, I was tired, and of course I got McDonald's on the way home because I figured a greasy meal would help me. I don't know. I was trying every trick in the book, and that was more money wasted. And that might not seem like a lot to some people, 6 or 7 beers, and I'm not saying drinking is wrong if you can handle it. But for me, it's not what I'm into right now. And that is going to keep me from doing what I want to do, and I just don't enjoy it. So it makes a lot of these topics that I talk about on this channel, discipline, happiness, stress-free, debt-free, side hustling, gig economy, learning, reading, financial independence, all that becomes easier without alcohol in the way. And while I was there, I saw how destructive that it could be. I saw people with drinking problems, that these were the same people who I always see at the bar, and it's been years. And I saw people with their marriages collapsing in the bar at 3 p.m. Over alcohol. And I have friends who are in the same boat, that they're always there all day drinking because they can't go home. They don't want to go home, and they're too stubborn to change. And I thank God that I was able to change. It's hard to say, but I did spend time in rehab. And it wasn't really for booze, but booze led to other things. And, some extracurricular drugs. And it stinks to say, but I'm not ashamed of it.